Welcome to the Fate Spun channel, a place where every story will make you feel, wonder, and hold your breath. Are you ready? Then go ahead. Story number 1. The old guitar. I never thought I'd confess this, but the guilt is eating me alive. It's about something I did years ago, something that changed someone else's life without them ever knowing it was me. I used to work at a pawn shop during my early 20s. It was a small place, tucked into a forgotten corner of the city, the kind of place where desperate people came to trade their memories for cash. It was heartbreaking most days, but one particular evening still haunts me. An older man came in with an acoustic guitar. It was beautiful, worn but clearly cherished. He told me he needed to sell it to pay for his medications. He tried to keep his composure, but I could see the tremble in his hands as he placed it on the counter. $150, I offered, knowing the guitar was worth at least triple that. He hesitated, his pride and desperation locked in a silent battle. Finally, he nodded, took the cash, and walked out without looking back. I told myself it was just business, that I was following the rules. But something about the way he left, the weight in his steps, stuck with me. A week later, a young musician came in and fell in love with the guitar. She played a few chords, her face lighting up like she'd found a piece of herself she didn't know was missing. She didn't have much money, but she offered me $200. I took it, feeling like I'd balanced some invisible scale. Years passed. I forgot about the incident until last month when I saw her on TV. She was now a rising star, holding that same guitar as she told a reporter about how it had saved her during a tough time in her life. I should have felt happy for her, but all I could think about was the old man. Did he ever regret selling it? Did he miss it every day? Did I take advantage of his need, only to give it to someone who didn't know its true value? I've tried to track him down, but it's like he vanished. The shop closed years ago, and I don't even have his name. All I have is the memory of his trembling hands and the crushing guilt that I profited from someone else's heartbreak. I've thought about reaching out to the musician, telling her the truth, but what good would it do? She's built her life around that guitar now. It's part of her story, even if it began with someone else's sacrifice. So here I am, confessing to strangers on the internet, hoping it'll make the weight a little easier to carry. Story number 2, the empty chair. I've carried this secret for years, and I don't think I can hold it in any longer. It's not the kind of thing you just casually bring up, though. I guess that's why I'm here, confessing to strangers. About 10 years ago, I was part of a close-knit group of friends. We did everything together. Trips, game nights, endless late-night talks. Among us was Jason, the guy everyone loved. He was funny, generous, the kind of person who'd give you the shirt off his back without a second thought. But Jason had a dark side. He gambled. Not the friendly poker night kind, but the kind where you lose your car, your house, and maybe even your future. He always swore he'd quit, that he'd get his life back on track. But the debts kept piling up. One night, he came to me, desperate. He needed $10,000, or his words, not mine. They'll come for me. I was just out of college, barely making rent myself, so I told him I couldn't help. He looked at me like I'd betrayed him. But what could I do? The next morning, Jason didn't show up for brunch, our weekly tradition. We figured he'd slept in or was nursing a hangover, so we didn't think much of it. But by the evening, when no one could reach him, we started to worry. The police found his car parked by the river. His wallet and phone were inside, but there was no sign of him. They called it a probable suicide, though no body was ever found. Our group was never the same after that. We tried to move on, but Jason's empty chair at every gathering was a constant reminder of the friend we'd lost. Here's the part I've never told anyone. A week after Jason disappeared, I got an envelope in the mail. No return address, just my name scrawled on the front. Inside was a single piece of paper with 2 words, "Thank you." I don't know what it meant. Thank you for refusing to help? Thank you for pushing him to the edge? Or was it something else entirely? I've spent years wondering if I made the right choice that night. If I'd given him the money, would he still be here? Or would I have just delayed the inevitable? Sometimes I convince myself that he's still alive, that he faked his death to escape the mess he'd created. I've even caught myself scanning crowds, hoping to see his face. But deep down, I know he's gone. And every time I think about that note, I feel like I failed him in ways I can't ever make right. Story number 3. The day I walked away. I've never admitted this to anyone, not even to myself in the mirror. But after holding it in for so long, I need to tell someone, even if it's a group of strangers on the internet. A few years ago, I was engaged to Claire. She was perfect in every way, kind, intelligent, beautiful, and patient enough to put up with my quirks. We were the couple everyone looked at and said, they'll go the distance. I believed it too. But there was one thing Claire didn't know. I had a second life. No, I wasn't cheating or doing anything illegal. I had crippling debt, credit cards maxed out, a personal loan I couldn't pay off, and a gambling habit that was spiraling out of control. When we got engaged, she talked about buying a house, starting a family, and traveling the world. Every time she brought it up, I smiled and nodded, pretending I could make it all happen. Inside, I was suffocating. One night, about 2 months before the wedding, Claire sat me down. She said she'd found some of my unpaid bills while cleaning up my desk. She wasn't angry, she was concerned. She told me we could figure it out together, that she loved me no matter what. But instead of feeling relief, I felt cornered. I didn't want her to see me as a failure, someone who couldn't provide the life she deserved. The next morning, I packed a bag and left. No note, no explanation, just disappeared. I left my phone behind, deleted my social media accounts, and drove halfway across the country to start over. Claire called my parents, my friends, even filed a missing person report. I heard about it from a mutual friend months later. Everyone thought I'd been kidnapped or worse. It took me years to climb out of the hole I dug for myself. I worked 2 jobs, lived in a tiny apartment, and slowly chipped away at the mountain of debt. I told myself I'd left for Claire's sake, that she deserved someone better. But the truth is, I was a coward. I didn't give her the chance to decide for herself. A few weeks ago, I saw her name pop up on LinkedIn. She's married now with 2 kids and a successful career. She looks happy, and I'm glad she moved on. Still, I can't help but wonder what could have been if I'd just been honest. If I'd let her help me the way she wanted to. I'll never know, and I have to live with that. Thank you for watching the video. Subscribe to the channel, like it, and don't forget to leave a comment. See you in the next video. Good luck!